The three main filmmakers that we'll be looking at today is Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, and George Lucas. We call these men the masterminds of mainstream because of their notable successful films right through the 70s into the 90s. They are known for their great experimentation and breaking the stuffy standardized expectation of film, giving the audience a new, highly anticipated form of entertainment. These blockbuster masters have proven why knowing an audience is crucial to making a successful film. George Lucas is hailed as the creator of one of the most wildly popular series in the 80s, Star Wars, making him one of the most financially successful filmmakers to emerge from this new Hollywood movement. James Cameron is known for writing and directing some of the top grossing films of the 80s and the 90s. He is known as one of the most innovative filmmakers on this list because of his contributions to the film industry by creating new and innovative technologies.
Steven Spielberg is probably the most influential director on here in terms of the new Hollywood movement, as he was considered to have made the first ever blockbuster movie. He is the most commercially successful director ever, achieving many awards including Academy Awards, BAFTA Awards, and many others. Spielberg threw the first brick of the new Hollywood movement, becoming a well-known pioneer of blockbuster films, making classic hits like Jaws, Jurassic Park, and E.T.
It was a golden age of filmmaking because we were all single, ambitious, and we were in love with film.
The thing that all of these masterminds had in common was that they had studied film in an academic setting.
A blockbuster movie is generally recognized as a movie that achieves worldwide financial success at the box office. It is a movie that is appealing to everyone and it draws in a large, wide-ranging audience without targeting any specific niche. It is usually considered that Steven Spielberg's Jaws was the first ever blockbuster to appear, albeit considering its middling success when it came out in 1975. Jaws was created with a budget of $12 million, but it brought in around $500 million worldwide for Universal Studios. And from this point, other studios have been chasing this high profit margin.
The new Hollywood movement came about in the 1960s when a new wave of young, creative people with a love of films, not just American or Hollywood films, but also international films, came onto the scene with the intention of making the next generation of timeless classics. This era of filmmaking lasted until the 1980s. These young filmmakers worked within the studio systems in Hollywood, but the approach they took to their films brought a much more radical style of filmmaking into the mainstream. This new generation of filmmakers are often considered the film school generation, as they took a more academic approach to their love of films, and brought that into the way that they made their films. Due to the more artful European films that these young filmmakers were inspired by, a lot of their films and techniques differed from classical Hollywood in quite a dramatic way.
Audiences enjoyed this new era of Hollywood, reveling in the new and gritty topics that were allowed to be included. From 1934 until 1968, the Hague Codes were in place, prohibiting many topics considered to be taboo, such as profanity, nudity, any violence that was too graphic or realistic. All of these went out the window as the new Hollywood movement came about. The directors of this era used more locations shooting and moving away from the classical Hollywood conventions of shooting within studios.
A lot of films made between the 60s and 80s are still very relevant today, and are still very prevalent in both pop culture and society. Movies like Steven Spielberg's Jaws have had a huge impact on soundtracks and the effect they have on an audience's perspective while watching a film. And not only that, but the connotations of hearing that simple yet menacing two-note theme are widely known, even by people who have never seen the movie. It's satisfyingly threatening without being too complicated.
Other huge films from the time, such as James Cameron's Titanic, incorporated songs from big names in the pop charts. Bizarrely, some of the people feared that Titanic would be a flop. So for advertising, Celine Dion was recruited to perform the now iconic and well-known hit, My Heart Will Go On. But it is now almost impossible to think of Titanic without associating it with Celine Dion's song, and vice versa.
This style of blockbuster film has stayed relevant, and blockbusters are still being made to this day, drawing in large audiences still desperate to watch the next classical hit that will be talked about in years to come.